That's like, I don't care. You can be a stay-at-home daddy if you want. Like, I really don't give a fuck. I want my own money. Like,
okay.
Wait, so she makes about 1.2 a year.
All right, we got some serious tax revenue coming in for the syntax on there.
There you go. Can you tell them what the syntax is actually?
Sure. So the idea is, if you're an OnlyFans content creator, any sort of adult performer, 50% of your income is going to be taxed at the state level.
I mean, let's tax 50% of your income.
But I'm not an OnlyFans creator.
Why does that have to be in a certain caliber?
You're doing all the work. And honestly, most women wouldn't do OnlyFans if people were paying a living age.
I want there to be a living, dignified wage.
Okay,
I'm going to fight for that.
Well, I'll quit. But like, honestly, like, I went to school. I got a bachelor's degree. I worked a normal job. I was working over 60 hours a week. I had no benefits. And at the end of the day, like, the pay was not matching up to the bills.
I agree with you. And that's exactly what I'm going to fight to do.
Like, do you think we all, like, I promise you, like, we don't want to, like, talk to most of these men. Like, honestly, like, we really don't.
I'm glad to hear that, and that's exactly we are agreeing on the root.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're agreeing on the root causes. I want to raise pay. I want to increase job benefits. I want to give paid maternity leave to every single mom in the state. But at the same time, I want to give you the option by increasing the alternative. But I also want to essentially bankrupt OnlyFans in Florida. I think it's degenerate. It's absolutely degenerate.
I understand. I grew up Pentecostal. I understand. It's just that, like, just like men, if they're in a tight spot, they might go hustle, they might sell weed, they might sell drugs.
I'm going to throw them in prison.
Right. So, and at the end of the day, like,
any degeneracy, anything is wrong, we're going to hold people accountable for that. And so the way to hold people accountable is to raise taxes so high that it discourages women from allowing themselves to be exploited by that platform.
I have a question.
And if women are making enough money to pay their rent and pay their car and like pay daycare and things like that, I don't think that they would have an issue.
So that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to raise the standard of living, to address affordability, to make sure that you can have enough money to pay your rent and someday own, afford your groceries, eliminate tolls for Florida residents.
Okay.
Tackle property insurance, auto. I'm paying more to insure the car than I am on the car note every single month.
No, literally.
Okay. So I'm with you, by the way. I'm not going to sit here and say and attack women and say, you should stop doing that. You should stop doing that. I'm going to say, here's what you can do. Instead, I'm going to fight for that life for all of you, but I'm also going to say, I got to punish the bad stuff so you can do the good stuff. But I'm not going to sit here and say, you guys figure it out. Because, yeah, if a guy is in a tight spot and sells drugs, that's not okay.
Right.
And I'm also going to blame the men for consuming that content as well. They're not okay either.
Correct.
So we're gonna figure this out. Okay. But I'm not gonna sit here and let you hang, out to dry and say, well, you rely on this income, but I still got to pay bills. No, I'm gonna take care of you guys.
Okay.
America.
Yeah.
Can you pull up the chart again?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Almost done.
So, okay, so we'll put 100,000 a year
100K,
minimum.
100K.
And then can you be married or can you be fat?
Oh, I mean, of course, I like fit.
Okay, so they have to. Okay, so they can't be fat, and then can they be married?
Sorry, Mo.
Why would I want somebody married?
I mean, you never know. You never know. Okay,
that's weird.
All right, so let's see how common this guy is. So this polls from the U.S. Census Bureau, National Health Survey, CDC. It's probably the most accurate congregation of men in America. So your guy is extremely rare.
Damn.
Below is 0.
Yeah, 0.1058%.
That's a fraction of a 1%.
Pretty much.
Got 5 of them.
Yeah, your guy is very rare. Now that you know how rare this guy is, are you going to lower your standards or no?
Absolutely not.
And that doesn't include personality, by the way.
So let me ask you this then.
Or mental health.
Yeah.
Fair. Since this guy, now that you know, like what your bare minimum standard is extremely rare, and you're not willing to concede, are you okay with like him having other women then?
For what?
Sex.
Well, I mean, I'm just going off supply and demand. If this guy is extremely rare, right? It's gonna be hard for you to find this guy, and if you do find him, he's probably gonna want other women because he's so rare.
There's one of him, many of you.
Depends on the day.
Depends on the day. Okay.
How you feel?
About him having other women, about him being rare.
Yeah. So you said it depends on the day.
Well, he has other women because he's rare. More than likely.
I don't know. I mean, like, Nipsey Hussle was devoted to his wife,
You don't think he had sex with other women on the side?
Bro, are you serious?
I don't know. Maybe she was involved.
Yo. That nigga's living life, bro. Come on, man.
Maybe she was down too.
She was not always there, please.
Yeah, we're asking you, would you be down with that?
Depends on the day. I like women sometimes.
So is it yes?
It really
yes or no?
depends on like the
So
respect.
it's
like,
up to you, not up to him. Got
All
it.
right. So like, what if he's like, baby, it's fine. She's coming over. It's all respect. It's all good.
So let me ask you this then. Being very honest here. You're 34. You have a kid from another man.
Right.
You do OnlyFans.
Right. Sometimes.
Do you think? Okay, you do it sometimes. Fine. Do you think you qualify for this caliber of guy to be monogamous to you?
I was a wifey for 10 years and I got cheated on, so I'm not interested in dating or being. I'm just not interested. I'm interested in my career and having my son have a trust fund.
Sure. So your priority isn't even him then. So why should he prioritize you?
He doesn't have the option to prioritize me because I don't date.
You what?
Yo, I don't. I'm not dating. I'm not dating.
I understand that.
I don't
but
answer my DMs. Like I don't give out my number. I don't meet random guys. Like I don't go out. Like I work. I
I'm
live
so
at work.
confused.
that's cool. But like I'm trying to like. Do you want to be single for the rest of your life? Is that the goal?
It depends. I don't know yet.
You're 34. You should know.
I mean,
And you have a kid.
I do, and his dad is very involved in his life. So like, bless you.
Bless you.
Stuff. Is that coronavirus?
Oh.
Oh my god.
Fresh on YouTube, man.
The China virus.
Yeah.
China virus.
Hey, keep that shit over there, man. God,
Oh, you're fresh.
That's funny.
I was thinking it fresh, but you said it.
Okay, so no, I'm just trying to like understand here because like you have pretty high standards, and it's like okay, that guy's probably gonna want something in return.
Okay, so if you have a woman who's making 100K, who has her own business, who takes care of her kid, who is
Sure.
educated, who is loyal, and you want to bring other women into the picture, what makes you deserving of having 2 bitches?
3.
Or
Okay.
4? But like, what makes you deserving of that? Like, if I'm bringing more money to the table and I have my own business and I'm educated and I'm loyal to you, like, what makes you deserving to ask me for another
Sure.
bitch?
Let me ask you a question then, and I'll answer that. But I want to pose a question so you understand the perspective. Let's say I'm a model. I do a runway fashion. I have a extensive wallet collection. I have a lot of designer shoes. I dress really well. I do photo shoots every now and then. What's your thoughts on that?
And?
Fantastic. That's exactly how I feel about your education. It doesn't fucking matter. And I love it when women like bring up like these things like, oh, I'm educated, I make money, I'm like loyal, whatever. Like men don't really care about your education or your income. We don't care about that whatsoever.
You guys will fuck anyone. You can have the realest bitch and you'll cheat and you'll cheat.
That's not my point. My point is
right,
that
of course that's not the point.
we what I'm trying to say is because you
a
brought
lot
up
of men have no standards.
No, it's not that. It's that you brought up a bunch of traits that men aren't really interested in. So what I did was
So what are men interested in? Because if she's loyal and she has an education and she makes her own money and she cooks and she cleans and she takes care of the kid, what are you missing?
Well, do you understand kind of where I'm coming from though? Like where
obviously. So
these,
what are you missing?
These traits don't matter.
What are you missing?
Because I
what
want
are you missing? What are you missing?
Okay. You need to calm down a little bit.
Alright.
Feisty over there.
But like, what are you missing?
Thank you. Just calm down real quick. The reason why I gave that example was so that you can understand that, how you felt when I mentioned my wallet collection and my designer shoes. You didn't care about it, which is rightfully so. Why would a woman care about a man's ability to be fashionably forward or trendy or whatever? You care more about, is he strong? Is he tall? Is he a good talker? Does he make me feel safe? Does he, can he protect and provide for me? These are things that women are looking for. For us, we're looking for something different. We're not looking for a provider, which is what you are now, making that kind of money. We're looking for a woman that's going to submit. We're looking for a woman that's going to obey. We're looking for a woman that has a clean past so that when we bring her in a room, we don't get embarrassed. We're looking for a girl who, doesn't look for attention from other men, right? Because our reputation is directly tied to the behaviors of our woman that we decide to make our girlfriend. So I think these are the things that men are really looking for. Your income and your career. Men really don't care about that, and the more money they make, the less they care about it.
You can do all of that and still be cheated on.
Sure, and that is true. But what I also need to say is that women don't understand that there's far fewer attractive men than there are attractive women.
Correct.
So wouldn't that make sense that a lot of the times, if you find a guy that's a catch, he's going to have other women? On a balance of probabilities?
So how is he a cat? You need somebody who's loyal, who doesn't seek attention, who is modest, and
The man wants this, or the woman?
Obviously, men want somebody who is loyal, who doesn't seek attention, who doesn't have, like an outside, who's not outside, not on social media, but you're not going to be loyal to her?
Yeah, because men and women are not the same.
So like,
We are completely different. If you go have sex with 10 dudes, that makes you a slut. If I go have sex with 10 girls, that makes me a G. We are not the same.
That's not true.
Oh, it's not. How's it not true?
For a man to be ran through, it's a good thing.
Okay.
I mean, like, high-quality
hold on.
women-
When we asked you earlier what your body count was, you didn't want to
You didn't
say
ask.
it, right?
You didn't ask. You skipped me.
Oh, did you?
No,
All
you
right.
skipped me.
What's your body count then?
7.
Okay. No,
She's
you did.
lying,
I
bro.
think she did say that.
No. Well, she hit her OnlyFans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she hit her OnlyFans
Yeah.
too. I don't believe that number, but regardless, a lot of the women when we asked this number were uncomfortable answering that question. Why?
Because it's a metric
because you're using it to sit there and like demonize these women when you sit there and post and brag about doing the same thing.
I'll explain why.
Everyone
There's a biological reason.
It's not because like not
Oh, really?
every single woman gets attached. That's not true. Some men can get more attached to sleeping with a woman than a woman can. Not all people are the same.
Yeah, that might be. Sure that's possible, but the probability is that men don't have the same attachment to sex that women do, because for women it's a significantly more invested action because you can get pregnant from it.
That's not
I won't.
It is true.
What's not true?
Not all women think of it that way.
Yeah, there's exceptions to the rule, but in general, most women would prefer to have one guy that they're consistently having sex with. Most men would prefer to have multiple women they're having sex with.
Men can get women pregnant, and so they'd be reliable for child support and have a kid.
Okay,
it's the same
that's
thing.
a modern convention that was created recently, but human beings
So
were
is
created.
body count.
I'm
so
sorry?
is sleeping around, because 200 years ago people weren't sleeping around. Men weren't hooking up with 300 bitches.
They actually were.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, that
Way
was.
more.
They actually were.
way more.
There's a reason why only 40% of men have procreated since the beginning of time versus like 90% of women have. The difference back then was like polygamy was like widely practiced because it was use of force. So that's not true.
Also, men can't be ran through. I mean,
Yeah, men do the
I
running.
Can I
disagree.
say something?
What?
No, I'm
I
sorry.
disagree.
What are you
Can I say
saying?
something?
No, look here. Listen, I don't think it's a brag for a guy to say he has 100 body count. I don't think it's definitely a brag for a woman, but I think that having a high body count as a guy as or a girl is just a bad thing. I think that sex is reserved for intimate relationships, is reserved for marriage. That's my view. And so I actually sympathize with you that there should be a stigma associated with a high body count, but it should not exclusively be applied to women.
Right.
And
It's just-
that's
I
my
applaud
view.
you for that, James.
No, but I'm just gonna speak the truth on this. I'm not gonna sit here and say like, if you're a guy and you've slept with 500 girls that makes you a G. It's just not the truth. I think a real guy is someone who finds a girl, puts a ring on it, stays committed, does what's right,
Right.
and
Come on, James.
Wait, but James, hold on.
Come on, James.
James, let me
Come on,
just get
James.
some pushback here. So you're saying find a girl, get a wife, just like that. It's not easy nowadays.
it's hard.
Most women now are not good options. So we're just saying, on the balance of probabilities here, let's go out, find some girls, see what they really are, test the waters, and then make a choice at that point.
Well, look, you can test the waters by taking them out to sushi. You can test the waters by taking them out to Milos. You can test the waters by going out to an ice skating rink. You don't have to test the
a woman's
waters.
true nature is shown. The sex is off the table. Like at that point, it's neutral. You can see who she really is.
What?
At the same time, same token, I get what you're saying, but like you need to go all the way.
I disagree. Can I tell you what my first date was? Kind of my approach in my 20s. I'm 31 now. My approach in my 20s was if I told a girl I wanted to take her on a date,
Mhm.
I would say, we're going to the Costco food court, or we're going to go to the mall food court.
Hot dogs?
Glizzies. And I did that because I didn't want to go out with a girl literally on the first date if she was unwilling to go to a mall food court. I was like, yeah, we'll go to the mall and then we'll go to the food court afterward. And probably half, if not more, of the girls said, wait, what do you mean? Like, you're taking me to XYZ. That's a really good way to size up a woman.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good way to size up a partner. It's like, look, if you're not willing to show up at the mall food court and have some Chinese food, I'm not looking at you for any reason, but have any Chinese food, that's a pretty disqualifying thing. And so I think modesty is a good thing for men and women. And this idea, honestly, that women want $500, $600, $700 dinners on the first date is crazy. And what men should do and women should do is say, look, first date, we're going to go to Chili's. We're going to go to the food court. We're going to go to Costco. We're going to walk around, right? You can't be spending that kind of money. It's not realistic. But also, I wouldn't want to be with, maybe you guys wouldn't want to be with a guy who says, we got to spend all this money to have a good time.
James, I'll give you this. It's a good vetting process when you vet them that way. It is very good.
It's a,
However,
here we go.
let's just get into the meat and bones here. You're going to tell me that I can just tell a girl, right, go through that process and pick off of that alone. Not possible. There has to be multiple layers of vetting, but this is what I'll say. In the long run, guys have options because their status, their money, their looks. But in reality, the options aren't that good. So to find them out the full way, you have to go all the way. And look, I'm just saying, like, sex is on the table, but you got to go at least close to that to figure out who she really is.
But
What do you mean? Who she really is? What does that mean?
Because remember, there's a battle going on between the sexes. The man wants sex, the woman wants, to be
provision.
Yeah. So at that point, it's kind of like, who's gonna win that battle up front?
Why is it a battle?
It's just how it is. Like whenever people are together, there's a value exchange.
But what do you learn from having sex with a woman before marriage? Like, what do you actually learn about
that
them?
she have good pussy.
But seriously, like, what do you learn about her ability to stay committed, her ability to be a committed woman, to raise your children, to be a partner? What do you learn about that?
Endurance.
Put it this way: take sex off the table. What do you really have with a woman?
You have
a lot.
Commitment, love,
Okay,
support,
so let's get past that part.
Why?
And let's see who she really is. Because imagine I go to
Fresh. Wait,
I don't
can
know
I say something?
Mercedes, right? And I say, you know what? Give me the first car in the lot. I don't like the car. It drives shitty, high mileage.
But listen, I agree with you. Men should test drive relationships, so that doesn't mean sex.
Well, listen.
It means the ups and downs of a relationship.
I get that point, but let's just, for argument's sake, sex in itself could be considered really bad because you can get her pregnant, STDs, 100%. But my point of view is like, if you don't have sex with a girl, right, at some point before marriage, how do you know it's like going to be good?
What's going to be good?
Sex.
Why is that your basis
but why?
of marriage?
Seriously, I don't know why that's like. Well, think about it. If you're married for 40, 50 years, what percentage of the time are you going to be having sex with a woman? Less than 1% of 1% of the time.
Yeah.
So why don't we focus on the other 99.9% of the interactions? Cooking, going out. How do you guys handle stress, consternation, fights, support? Why are we so, as men, and I'm saying this as a guy, why are we so obsessed with literally less than 1% of the time that we're going to spend is having sex with a woman?
But I agree. I'm saying let's get out of the way now.
Why?
Can I say something?
Because, okay.
All right, let me ask you this.
Brad and Tom didn't wait for sex.
Who's that?
The guys before me, right? They didn't wait for sex till marriage. Why am I going to wait?
Well, look, okay. If you wanted to find out if a woman was the right woman, or ladies, if you want to find out the guy was right, you have two options. You can have sex with them for 6 months, or you can travel the world with them for 6 months. Which one are you picking?
Travel the world.
Wait,
Right?
so but who's paying though?
Irrelevant.
The guy's paying, right?
Irrelevant.
So the girl. I mean,
All right. Okay, you guys are going to backpack Europe. You're going to sleep in hostels. You're going to have McDonald's. Still travel. Because guess what? The travel plans are going to go wrong. You're going to have fights. She's going to be hungry. You're not going to, all that stuff. That's what I would want to see in a relationship, is not who's better in bed, but who's actually going to handle the stress, the uncertainty, the back and forth 6 months on the road.
Yeah, but the guys is paying up front 100%, and the girls have to sit here and be like, okay, maybe sex is one thing.
Well, look, I'm not taking him to the Ritz-Carlton in Paris. We're staying at a hostel. I mean,
$50?
Can we do a twin bed? That's okay, right?
Girls? I mean, no, these girls
there's a
don't do
need
that,
for vetting, 100%. I agree with you.
We agree there's a need for vetting. Do we all agree that we should vet?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right? But you're of the opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, that vetting is sex.
That's part of the process,
Including
yes.
sex.
Most.
But you're saying it's most of the process.
No. It's a part of it. It's not the main thing. But
What's the main thing?
Again, compatibility. Because, for example, sex may be good in the moment. Like you said, it can fade away. But at the same time, how do I know all components if I never had it from the very beginning?
Can I say
I
something?
can assume after marriage is going to be great, but I don't know. Might be bad chemistry. She may not like sex herself. She may divorce me after that. You really don't know until after the fact. So why go into it blindly? I can go from the very jump, get the cow's milk, and buy the cow at the same time.